worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq hollering at you one more again. All right. Hey, man, another beautiful day. Now, it's not quite as sunny, right? It's a little cooler, slightly overcast, but it's comfortable. I'll take it, right? Gratefully. As I'm grateful for all of you. Thank you all. I love you. I appreciate you. Please help me to continue pumping out this message and building the worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Please continue to like, share, subscribe. And let's do this, right? So this is a succinct but very important message in video. I'm sending this out to all the women of the world, right? In particular, women of color, as you all have been specifically targeted for quite some time, right? But women in general as well, right? Many ways, which, you know, I know I'm preaching to the choir, you all know. Many ways you have been subjugated, discriminated against, and held in less than the incredible regard that you should be held in, right? Truly valued and treasured, in my opinion, is what women should be on this planet. But specifically, I want to talk about some of the attacks on your self-esteem, right? That you unfortunately have been made subject to, you know. And again, women of color have suffered very many overt attacks, and a lot of attacks that would easily harm your self-esteem, or could easily have harmed your self-esteem just growing up, right, in this world the way it is, where your beauty is put on trial like every day. It's crazy that we would even have the slightest bit of doubt or less than the utmost respect and admiration and adorns, right? Adoring of our women's incredible beauty, right? Transcendent of just physical means of appreciating that. When a woman, a happy woman, as the world should allow for women to be, when a happy woman walks in the room, it truly lights up, right? You just feel their energetic accent, right, to the environment that you're in. And conversely can be for when a woman is experiencing difficult emotions, right, is in a difficult place or space at that particular time. Because your emotions are incredibly powerful and an incredibly powerful signal to the universe, right? As I say, we all are constantly manifesting. It's just a matter of whether we're doing so consciously or subconsciously. But I want to reaffirm that, you know, never question your beauty, whether it be your beautiful countenance, your beautiful body, most importantly, the beauty that you have inside, right? The world would not be a good place without women, right? And let's get beyond, you know, sexual attraction and all that. Nature takes care of all that. We don't have to worry about that. But I'm talking about appreciation for the depth of the beauty of a woman, right? something that I know in my immaturity I didn't fully appreciate, and that many of us in the immaturity of this society, of this civilization, don't appreciate, or at least do not appreciate the way that we once did, right? Um, yeah, man. Which is a misnomer, because most of us these days in this society probably think that women have always held a backseat to man, or played second fiddle to man, when in reality that's just not the case throughout history. Particularly when you look at the cultures of indigenous people throughout the world, um, and people of color, right? Women of color throughout history have held very prominent and powerful positions, positions of leadership, positions of rule even, right? Um, and this is lost in our appreciation of women these days, right? And instead, we have these social mechanisms in place, like fashion, for example, that put extreme pressure on women. The world of fashion and beauty, beauty as a business, right? Truly place unfair guidelines of judgment, uh, truly place skewed measurements, or skewed points of appreciation that we should hold for a woman, right? Um, it's bad enough that the corporate world has long since decided to marginalize women and their true value by really shrinking women down to body parts, right? And have influenced all of us. And it, you know, men, I think we don't realize how growing up we are influenced by this constant imagery and this bombardment of women's body parts in association with sexuality, which influences how we develop naturally and our sexuality, in the way that we intermingle, right, with the women of our society, of this civilization. And the indoctrination that we receive really causes us to underappreciate, to undervalue, and to not really recognize the full potential, the full beauty, the full divinity of women, right? And instead causes us to look at women in almost a material sense, right? This society has gone a long way, and the corporate world again has played its sort of devious role in objectifying women, right? Particularly in this Western culture. We got that real bad here. It's not quite as bad in other places of the world, but there are other places of the world where women suffer in doctrines that keep them subdued and keep them almost in some doctrines, right? Some religions even, or the way that those religions are interpreted by certain groups, keep women at even less than a second-class citizenship level, right? Almost slaves, in terms of how they're treated. And, it's a misnomer. It's obvious this needs to stop. But what needs to happen first is people need to be aware of that. And I do see a very strong and powerful movement to point these things out, and I'll celebrate that. Um, it is unfortunate when I do see sometimes that goes in another direction and causes separation between men and women, because that's not the answer, and that's not what we should be aspiring for, right? Um, we want equality between men and women, right? Um, we don't need men to be over women, and we don't need women to be over men. We need equality and mutual appreciation between men and women is what we need on this planet. Um, but that starts with pointing out the pressures and the unfair, unrealistic, and often skewed judgment points that are placed on us by society that cause us to judge women in these ways. Beauty standards, you know, quite honestly, there is no material, no earthly possession that compares to the beauty of a woman or the value of a woman. So why are we creating or allowing to be abundant a view in our society where more and more of us are indoctrinated, both men and women, into a system that places a monetary or materialistic value on a woman, right? Anything that causes a woman to believe that not even just her sexuality, but anything about her can be bought, traded, or made equal to something material is a travesty and shouldn't happen, truly, because there is no thing that is even infinitesimally close to the true value of a woman or any human being for that matter. But certainly for our incredibly underappreciated women of the world. But there are so many triggers, even in our economy, right? Even in our whole economic basis, capitalism, right? Capitalism, as already stated, uses fashion and uses these artificial beauty aids and attachments, these add-ons, as a real tool. First, what happens is they gear these commercials in such a way that they cause a woman to start to question herself, her beauty. She starts looking in the mirror, and all she can see is something that needs fixed, or something that's wrong, or something that could be better or should be better in some way. And nothing in this society, and particularly in our advertising world, points a finger to not only accepting, but truly appreciating and valuing our women as they are, as they were born, right? You know, how a woman dresses or styles herself is always her prerogative, right? But I have had some close female friends, right? Quite a few throughout my life who have talked to me about their insecurities, right? And I have seen for myself from a multitude of perspectives, as many of us have, the different psychological needs that get fulfilled by these, or I shouldn't say fulfilled, get temporarily appeased. Not only by material possessions, but by these augmentations and add-ons, right? But again, it first starts with mechanisms, with social mechanisms that tear down the self-worth, the self-value, the self-imagery, and the self-esteem of women by telling them that they are less than or insufficient in some way. And that they now need this fix, this product fix, to make them right, to make them okay, to make them enough, to make them pretty enough, to make them appear important enough or smart enough, to make them feel like the things that these commercials and these different social mechanisms tell them is wrong with them have been fixed or appeased, right? When really there's nothing wrong with them. There's no problem they need to fix. And we should not be living in a society that tells them that there is, right? Ladies, you don't have to go out and get 7-inch eyelashes for your eyes to be beautiful. Your eyes were beautiful when you woke up that day and looked in the mirror without any add-ons or attachments. You don't have to get these extensions and these hair weaves and whatever your hair is like. Naturally is more than good enough. And usually, if treated without this myriad of products that contain a negative, low vibrational frequency, toxic mix of chemicals, right? Without all of that, just with natural means of taking care of yourselves and fostering your beauty, your hair is just fine, your skin's just fine, right? Not everybody has to look the same. If you have a blotch on your skin, that's all right. You're just a person, right? There are plenty of people who do. If you have a wrinkle or two, it's all right. It's just part of growing older, right? You know, there are natural ways to take care of ourselves. And what's such a slap in the face to all of us is that most of the things that we ail from, or that these commercials are pointing out that may have a problem with us, are due to products that they're selling us, the corporations are selling us in the first place. We just don't realize all the side effects that really start to take toll on our bodies as we get older, right? Things that we think aren't doing anything to us, that are in our foods, in our hair products, our skin products, in the water we drink and bathe with and wash our hair with, right? And unfortunately, the very air that we breathe and the atmosphere that we're exposed to. The low vibrational frequency electromagnetic fields that we are subjected to when we walk in our houses or in most of these buildings, right? All of these things are nefarious attempts and attacks on your health and beauty, and do have prolonged effects on all of us for that matter, but certainly on women as well. So it's really just a trick that they're setting you up for with all these beauty aid products and all these fashion requirements. You know, that dress, if it looks good on you, baby, I don't care if fashion said that you can't wear that anymore or it's out of style. What looks good on you looks good on you, right? What you feel comfortable and looking good in is just fine. You don't have to keep up with anything or anybody. But there are so many deeply entrained, intrinsic, truly deeply ingrained social mechanisms that steer us psychologically in ways that we do not often recognize on the surface. And many of us, right, many women would find themselves denying that they're, or in denial that they're succumbing to any of these pressures or psychological strains or these prompts to buy these products or these mechanisms that cause women to feel like they need these products in order to be beautiful. When you were beautiful, when you were born, and when you wake up every day, right? There is no add-on. There is no beauty product. There is nothing that will truly make you more beautiful than the way your Creator created you. And anything that tells you any different is a lie. And it's an attack on you. Women, you are beautiful, you are intelligent, you are strong, you are necessary to this world. You are needed and you should be loved and appreciated in all of those ways. So please remember that anything from any source that tells you anything different and causes you to feel less than, causes you to feel like you need to add something on to yourself, causes you to feel like you need to change something about yourself in order to be beautiful, in order to feel beautiful, in order to be attractive, in order to feel attractive, in order to be valuable or to feel valuable. You don't need any of that. You were valuable, beautiful. You were perfectly designed for who your spiritual essence needs you to be. When the Creator created you, no mistakes were made. Period. So love yourselves, appreciate yourselves as we continue to learn, to grow, to love and appreciate you the way that we should, right? Please do that for yourselves. And do not continue to give power over the fact, don't continue to give the fashion industry power over you. Don't continue to give the cosmetics industry power over you. And don't continue to feed into these commercials or any of these social triggers and social mechanisms that would steer you to feel like you need something external to make you whole or right. You don't. You don't. And any man or social mechanism that tells you that you do is not good for you. You are incredible. You are majestic. You are divine.